dramatically. It was just too much of a cut in the funds available to the men and women that we ask to keep us safe. And so I think the administration correctly suggested a shift in focus away from combating terrorism as a top priority. Not that it's not a very high priority, but recognizing that there's probably an even greater threat from nation states that are rising and intend to challenge us. It's expensive to make sure we have the military resources to get that job done, and Congress agreed to about $165 billion spending increase for our defensive forces, and I am convinced we are dramatically improving our readiness and our capability to deal with the threats that we face. Another whole category is the energy space. Now, we in Pennsylvania know the story of the tremendous explosive development of natural gas production from the development of the Marcellus Shale, and it's a fantastic story for Pennsylvania. But there are other parts of the country where this has been replicated, and it's both natural gas and oil, and the United States is now the world's biggest energy producer. I remember growing up, and what we kept hearing was, we're running out of energy, we're totally dependent on faraway countries to provide us with the energy we desperately need, we're extremely vulnerable. And you know, that looked to be true back in the 1970s and 80s. Today, we're now exporting energy. And we've got so much in the ground, we haven't even tapped technology and infrastructure and American innovation has completely changed the game in energy, and that is very, very good for our economy and our security and for long-term geopolitics. One of the elements of that was our legislation just a little over a year ago that allows the development of one of the world's richest sources of oil and gas, which is in Anwar, a small area on the coast of Alaska. The people of Alaska had waited for 38 years wanting to develop one of the world's richest sources of oil and gas, and Congress would never approve that. Well, we did, and that's going to be another terrific development in the coming years. We've had a lot of progress in infrastructure areas, not as much on surface transportation, but less attention, but still important elements like the FAA reauthorization and modernization so that air traffic controllers can handle greater volumes of air traffic. A big investment in locks and dams. That's more important in the western part of the state than the eastern part of the state, but it's very important in western Pennsylvania and of course midwestern states that move tremendous amounts of cargo on our nation's waterways. And we've just finished up dredging the Delaware River up to the Port of Philadelphia, and that's a really, really important part of commerce in southeastern part of Pennsylvania. All of these are important. I think the big legislative accomplishment of the last Congress that is at the top of the list for me is the tax reform.